Now that we know how to complete the square, we are going to work on converting from standard form to vertex form using this completing the square. So when we're given a quadratic function in the form f of x equals x squared plus bx plus c, the steps to convert the function to vertex form, f of x equals x minus h squared plus kr. First, we're going to move this c term to the other side. So we're going to move this to the other side by subtracting c from both sides. And so now our function should look like f of x minus c is equal to x squared plus bx. Second, we're going to do our completing the square step. So we're going to take half of b, square it, and add it to both sides to get f of x minus c plus b over 2 squared is equal to x squared plus bx plus b over 2 squared. Third, we're going to factor it. So if you were to factor this left-hand side, that's just going to be x plus b over 2 squared. And then we're going to move all terms back to the other side to get a function in the form f of x is equal to ax minus h squared plus k. So let's go through some examples working through that. So looking at number 1, I have f of x is equal to x squared minus 12x. My first term is to move my c to the other side, but I see I don't have a c term here. It's really just a 0. So I can go straight to that second step of adding b over 2 squared to both sides. So my b term here is negative 12. So I'm just going to write my work over here. So b over 2 squared, that is equal to negative 12 over 2 squared. Well, negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. And then negative 6 squared, I get 36. So I'm going to add 36 to both sides. Remember, what I do on one side, I have to do to the other. And now my third step is I want to factor this right-hand side. So you could go through the steps of looking for what two numbers multiply to 36 and add to negative 12. But a shortcut is always just going to be the number that's right here, my negative 6. And so you'll find when you factor this right-hand side, you're going to get x minus 6 squared. And now for my very last step, I just need to move this term back to the other side, so I have f of x by itself. So I'm going to subtract 36 from both sides, and I get that f of x is equal to x minus 6 squared minus 36. Okay, let's try another one. So here I have f of x is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 9. My first step is to move my c term, so I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. And so I have f of x minus 9 is equal to x squared minus 4x. And now my next step is to take half of b, square it, and add it to both sides. So when I take half of b, my b is negative 4, so I have negative 4 over 2 squared. Well, negative 4 divided by 2, I get negative 2 squared, which is just going to be 4. So that means I need to add 4 to both sides. So that leaves me with f of x minus 5 is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 4. And now remember, when I'm factoring this right-hand side, it's going to be in this form of x minus or plus something squared, and that number comes from my b over 2. And so that means that this is going to factor out to being x minus 2 squared. And then for my last step, I'm just going to add 5 to both sides. And so I get that f of x is equal to x minus 2 squared plus 5, which is my vertex form. Okay, let's try another one. First step, I need to move my c to the other side, so I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Here you'll notice I have y instead of f of x. That's okay, they both mean the same thing. So I'm going to take half of b and square it, so my b here is negative 16. Negative 16 divided by 2, I get negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 8, I get 64. So I'm going to add 64 to both sides. So 5 plus 64, I get 69, is equal to x squared minus 16x plus 64. Next, I need to factor the right-hand side, and remember, when I factor it, it's going to be in this format. X, and I fill it in with my b divided by 2, which here was negative 8. So I have x minus 8 squared. And then my last step is to subtract 69 from both sides. So that means that this function in vertex form is y equals x minus 8 squared minus 69. Okay, go ahead and pause the video. I want you to try and do number 4 on your own. When you think you have it, go ahead and press play. So the answer you should have gotten here was y equals x plus 3 squared minus 16.